Greetings, everyone. DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey guys, I just want to give you an update. And believe it or not, this is an election update, or at least an election campaign update. And yes, as you know, it has something to do with the conversation and the continual conversation, sustained conversation as it relates to restitution, reparations. Okay, it's interesting that Elizabeth Warren, as you know now, she's a front runner uh, as far as the polling is concerned for the Democratic candidate for the president of these United States. And she was in South Carolina over the weekend. And I want to read to you the editorial, and I just want you to see how dismissive they are to us. And just as much as they are, as aware as they are in terms of our position around reparations and our demand that 400 years of toil plus, be not only recognized, but that we be compensated for all of that, abuse, taken advantage of, etc. Because I don't want to lose time here. Watch how cunning and clever, I want to call them devils, but I ain't gonna call them devils, okay? Watch how clever and cunning these wolves in sheep's clothing truly are. Rock Hill, South Carolina. Elizabeth Warren may have drawn a decent crowd in South Carolina's Piedmont region, but the lack of diversity among the supporters who showed up foreshadows a hurdle for her White House bid. And that's no question about it. And it doesn't matter who it is. If no reparations, no vote, we mean what we're saying. At least most of us who give a damn about our ancestry and our children, those who are going to be here long after we're gone, we're serious about it. But I digress. Let me keep going. The senator from Massachusetts, now the front runner for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination after a string of solid polls, delivered her stump speech to an audience braving 89 degree heat on Saturday afternoon in Rock Hill, South Carolina, a heavily black Republican stronghold generally lumped into the Charlotte metropolitan area. The event was supposed to be held indoors, but it was shifted outdoors because of the number of people present. Okay, so they had a nice crowd out there. Yet, despite the town hall being hosted by Clinton College, an historically African American institution, the crowd was largely white. Warren deflected concerns about the enthusiasm gap among black Democrats. Why is the enthusiasm gap there? $5 Indian, Elizabeth Warren. Why is that enthusiasm gap there? The enthusiasm gap there is because of the fact you refuse to cut the check. Remember what you said. What check? That's the enthusiasm that you still fail and refuse to recognize. It's called disrespecting us. But let me go on. It goes on to say, Warren deflected concerns about the enthusiasm gap among black Democrats for her candidacy as opposed to Joe Biden's in the first in the South state, where the demographics comprises the majority of the primary electorate. Biden, the other top-tier candidate who served 2 terms as whatever. African American women have really been the backbone of the Democratic Party for generations now. This is Warren. They get out there and they fight for the people, Warren told reporters. Now, you see how divisive that is, guys? African American women. So what about African American men? See the disrespect and the insult? Who's on the front lines, fighting, for voting rights in the 60s and 70s, 80s? Who were getting beat to death, shot, hung, lynched, etc. if it were not black men, so-called African-American black men? But see, African-American black women, you're Hebrew Israelite, but I'm going to use their words. See, this is how they're trying to divide you from your men. And this is why something like Pittsburgh could happen the other day, where Arab men could beat the shit out of our women, because our women are allowing themselves, not all of you guys, some of you are beautiful queens and princesses who have a heart for the people. I'm not talking to you. But our women are allowing this rhetoric, and they're buying into this lie that they're all by themselves and they're the backbone of the community. you cannot be the backbone of a community without your men. And that goes both ways. The men can't be the backbone of the community without our women. Because without the men and the women, we have no community. Think about it. Let me read on further. But you see what I'm saying here, guys? That's the skullduggery involved in this. It says African American women have really been the backbone of the Democratic Party for generations now. I know what generation is. You're talking about 30, 40 years. Flat out lie. Okay? But anyway, they get out there and they fight for the people, Warren told reporters. What I'm doing is showing up and trying to talk to people about why I'm in this fight, about what's broken, about how to fix it. Well, we know what's broken: reparations, compensation. That's what's broken. You guys haven't paid your debt that you owed, that you've been owing for hundreds of years. That's what's broken. But let me go on. And we'll build, and how we're building a grassroots movement to get it done. We're building a grassroots, 2019, and we're still talking about building a grassroots movement to get something done. If you're going to exclude the black men, I guess it is grassroots, because it's the first we heard of it. So first we're hearing about it. So I guess in that regard, it would be grassroots for sure. The former special needs public school teacher turned Harvard law professor, she should have stayed in public school teaching kindergarten because she sounds like a damn idiot. No disrespect for the kindergarten teachers, but you should teach at the level that you think. The former special needs public school teacher turned Harvard law school professor cited, for example, the importance of investing in historically black colleges and universities. So investing in the universities when we don't have money to even attend those damn universities. Thank you for that. Okay, let me stop. Migrating black wealth disparities, which, the only thing that's going to mitigate that or mitigate it, bring it back to where is by the reparations. But as you notice, she's talking theory here. Improving African American maternal health outcomes and stamping out housing discrimination. Are you serious? It's the 1960s. That's what happens when someone who should be at home, someone who should have retired long ago, be taking care of her grandchildren or whatever else you like to do and enjoy the rest of their life. This is when you get an idiot from the past bringing them in the present, talking about leading into the future. This is the kind of silly, dumb, idiotic, rhetoric you get from someone with that mentality. However, Warren, staunch Wall Street critic, vocal consumer advocate, and frequent President Trump for pushback on the assumption she hadn't prioritized South Carolina over the predominantly white Iowa and New Hampshire. She also enjoys a geographical advantage. Okay, enough of that shit. But the big part of it is Warren's black supporters came out Saturday, unsurprisingly, arguing with their favorite could still win South Carolina, and it's more than 60 delegates. I beg to differ. If she doesn't step back and do what's right and bring reparations onto her platform with a clear, definitive plan of what she's going to do to ensure that 30, 40 million descendants of American slaves who are here right now on Turtle Island, in America, if she don't come up with a comprehensive plan and program, then I can assure you, come 2021, she'll be back the senator of the state of Massachusetts. If they're reelected, I don't know if she gets this. She'll be Senator Warren again. I can assure you that. Okay? But I just wanted to show you just how manipulative and how cunning they are. And this is also I want to say to my copper-colored brothers and sisters. Good job in South Carolina. Great job. Because you know what? Now you're putting your money where your mouth is. You're not just you're not a bunch of hot air. Okay? You're walking your talk. Good that you didn't show up. And I hope the next state she goes to, and every state she goes to, including when she gets to the state that I'm in, we don't show up. And send a clear message to her. If you don't put our needs, before your selfish needs, the things that you want to say that we need, your arrogance, your white privilege, to be able to determine what's best for us, when you're the one running for office? If you don't put that need at the top of your agenda, then we'll be seeing, Donald Trump next, 2021 January, I guess, when he's doing his second inaugural speech. We won't be there because we don't give a damn about his wretched ass, but we'll be watching it on television or hearing about it, and some of us probably reporting about it on our platform. Guys, to close this thing up, but I just wanted to share that with you in case you didn't know. South Carolina, the blacks in South Carolina have spoken and they're speaking. So that this is a challenge for all other 49 states. Do your job. Just like South Carolina is showing you they're willing to do their job thus far. We'll see if they carry it all the way to the end, though. Now, that's saying, I got to get to our book. The book. Our history book. Again, this is not a religious book. I don't know how to tell you guys that over and over and over again. This is your history. It has nothing. Anybody who's telling you this is religion, they're lying to you. They're trying to discourage you. They're trying to marginalize your history. And you shouldn't let them do that. We are the people of Yahuwah, Elohim. And he documented our past so that we would have a pathway into the future. And he put it in the book. Okay? The cipher. The book. But let me read something to you real quick. Let's see how much time I got. Okay, I got about 2 minutes. I think I can get through most of it. But this is Lamentations. Lamentations. Chapter 5. Look what it's, look. Watch the connectivity here. Watch how time appropriate this little quick message is. Chapter 5. Remember Yahuwah, which means in their word God, but you know that already. Remember Yahuwah, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. You heard what I just said? Our book is telling us to seek out Yahuwah. Don't forget about us. Because our inheritance is in the hands of strangers. And it has become a reproach or oppressive to us. That's the first verse I just read to you. Lamentations chapter 5. Read it for yourself. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens. They're treating the immigrants better than us. Aliens better than the people who have been here on Turtle Island for thousands of years. You tell me this is not a historical book? How would it know that? I can assure you, I didn't write this yesterday. And I sure didn't write it at the time of reading this article. I'll give you one more, piece of meat before I shut it down. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. In other words, all these single mothers out here who are men and sons are either dead or incarcerated or mentally, being challenged because of the food, the water, the poisoning of our communities with poverty and drugs and lead and violence and guns and gunpowder, etc. has created this fatherlessness in our communities. Our mothers are widows, and our children are orphans. And we have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. In other words, they're charging us for the things that we created. In other words, and they've been charging us for it. And now we talk about reparation. They're saying, we don't owe you guys nothing. We don't care if we've got advantage, if we've got privilege. We don't care. It's not our problem. It's your problem. And they're right. It is our problem. And we're going to show you better than we can tell you on Election Day 2020 how big of a problem, we can be for you, especially for you guys who want to see, I'm going to call it, stump the Trump. And you'll see it with who comes after him, etc., until you do right by us. Until you do, the hatred that you have on us, the curse that you're trying to place on us, Yahweh is going to place on you. Thank you guys for listening. DFG, again, no reparations, no vote. South Carolina, peace and power to you. Who's next? Next up. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye now.